bem, até que veio aquele gosto amargo. Eu acho que essas coisas às vezes é bom você dar um passo atrás para dar três na frente. Eu nasci para ser o campeão. E vou ser o campeão de novo.
For Jose Aldo, the good news is he has an opportunity to regroup now against Frankie Edgar for the interim title. If he can beat Frankie, it sets him up to fight for the undisputed title against Conor McGregor when Conor returns to the featherweight division. The bad news is Frankie Edgar has gotten substantially better. Better since the time he beat BJ Penn to win the title. Better since the first time that he challenged Jose Aldo for the featherweight title. If you look at Frankie Edgar's unbelievable performance against Cub Swanson, if you look at the way he skillfully outpointed Uriah Faber, if you look at the way he knocked out Chad Mendes in one round, Frankie Edgar is one of the best pound-for-pound fighters on the planet Earth today.
I think when me and Aldo fought 3 years ago, that was the best Aldo. I think now when we fight, he's going to see the best Frankie.
Eu levo uma diferença muito grande nele, ou na velocidade, ou na explosão. Onde ele quiser lutar, eu estou muito à frente dele ainda. Estou me sentindo como fosse o José Aldo antigamente.
When you taste gold, you want it back immediately when you lose it. Ever since I lost it back in 2012, I've been thinking nothing but of being a champion again.
Então eu sei que eu vou vencer a luta e assim eu vou apagar aquele momento amargo que ficou da última vez que eu entrei lá dentro.
I train like a champion, I act like a champion. Now I'm just missing that belt now.
Once again, Frankie Edgar makes his run to the octagon.
Yeah, I feel sorry for the security guards that have to try to keep up with him. Look at this guy. They're gonna have heart attacks. Yeah, Frankie likes to get after it quick. He is in tremendous shape. He pushes a pace like no one else in the division, and we really saw that in the Cub Swanson fight. Just breaks people, incredible work ethic, constantly improving and refining his technique, both in submissions and his stand-up. He's as good as he's ever been, and he is one of the best fighters in the world today.
Frankie Edgar's teammate, Joe, became the UFC lightweight champion, the belt that Frankie used to hold 2 nights ago. Congratulations, Eddie Alvarez.
Incredible performance by Eddie Alvarez. A fight he was a big underdog, shocked the world, and came out with a first-round knockout and a UFC title.
5-0 since the first time he fought Jose Aldo. Frankie Edgar trying to become the 3rd man in UFC history to hold a belt in 2 different weight classes. Randy Couture, BJ Penn, both in the Hall of Fame. Frankie Edgar made his UFC debut about a decade ago, Joe.
It is just an incredible fight. I can't wait to see this happen again. I can't wait to see what adjustments he's made and what strategies he and his crew have devised to deal with the lethal striking of Jose Aldo.
So much history, so many great fighters, experienced veterans. Gray Maynard fighting on International Fight Week. Made me think back to what Frankie Edgar survived against Gray Maynard.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot of human beings that would have figured out a way not just to survive those 2 encounters, but to come back, make a draw in the first fight, and stop him in the second fight. I mean, it was amazing. Just absolutely amazing.
Frankie "The Answer" Edgar set to fight for the interim belt. featherweight in UFC history. Jose Aldo had a 10-year winning streak, 18 fights without a loss, until a very disappointing 13 seconds against Conor McGregor.
Jose Aldo, if you look at his career, he is without a doubt one of the greatest pound-for-pound fighters ever. If you look at his amazing run in the featherweight division, he beat a who's who, and he did it with spectacular leg kicks, some of the best leg kicks you're ever going to see in MMA, beautiful Muay Thai, and an incredible jiu-jitsu game to go with it. Comes from that Nova União camp. You see him there with head coach Andre Pederneiras, one of the top camps in the world, particularly in the lighter weight divisions.
For the first time since 2006, we do not have a single Brazilian UFC champion. Vitor Belfort lost to Randy Couture at UFC 49, August 21st, 2004. Not a single Brazilian was a champion inside the octagon until Anderson Silva beat Rich Franklin at UFC 64, October 14th, 2006, 784 days. Jose Aldo wants the drought to be 2 days.
I'll tell you one thing, Aldo looks physically much better than his last fight. He looks very muscular, very ripped, looks like the Aldo of old. And we know for a fact that he trained incredibly hard in preparing for this, was very motivated, very emotional about that loss to Conor McGregor, and he ultimately feels that that loss and that setback is going to be a good thing for him.
We are about to find out. Our tale of the tape for this featherweight title fight. The former lightweight champion, 34 years old. The former featherweight champion, 29 years old. Jose Aldo will have a slight reach advantage. For the official introductions, Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 5 rounds for the interim UFC Featherweight Championship of the World. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a freestyle fighter holding a professional record, 19 wins, 4 losses, 1 draw. He stands 5 feet 6 inches tall, weighing in at 144 1/2 pounds. Fighting out of Toms River, New Jersey, presenting the former UFC lightweight champion and the #2 ranked featherweight contender in the world, Frankie the Answer Edgar! And now introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, a mixed martial artist holding a professional record, 25 wins, 2 losses. He stands 5 feet 7 inches tall, weighing in at 145 pounds. Fighting out of Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, presenting the former WEC featherweight champion and the former UFC featherweight champion and the #1 ranked featherweight contender in the world, Jose Aldo Jr. And when the action begins, our referee in charge, Mark Goddard.
Okay, gentlemen, you know the rules you're fighting under. Listen to me at all times. Keep yourself protected. When I say stop, you stop. Touch gloves. Let's do this.
Jose Aldo is all about business right now.
Yeah, he is very intense. This is a very, very important fight for him. You have to consider the fact that he went on this amazing unbeaten streak only to lose in devastating fashion with a first-round knockout. He wants retribution.
Interim title on the line in the featherweight division. Here we go. Tonight's fight clock brought to you by Bud Light. Raise one to right now. Aldo in the Brazilian colors. Frankie Edgar in the black trunks. Aldo dynamic, and he has vicious kicks.
Yeah, that right kick in particular is just devastating. The Uriah Faber fight is probably the best example of that. He's some of the best leg kicking in the game, and Frankie opens up with a leg kick of his own.
Frankie, great movement, Great hands, durable, and dangerous. More dangerous, Joe, than ever. Aldo said he went back to his Muay Thai roots for this fight.
What's interesting, because we've noted before that Aldo has an amazing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu game, but you very rarely see it in his fights because his striking is so lethal.
The first matchup was Frankie Edgar's featherweight debut at UFC 156. Fight of the night 3.5 years ago. Aldo by unanimous decision, but a great fight. Five-minute rounds. Seconds in. Ton of mutual respect. These guys win.
War.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a very close fight before, and Frankie believes that he is just a much better fighter now than he was then. But you're dealing with an incredibly motivated Aldo right now.
Frankie said he felt, Joe, that he fought the best Jose Aldo the first time. And he believes that he's the best Frankie Edgar tonight. Time will tell.
And also, we need to find out and see psychologically where Aldo's at.
Absolutely.
Right now he's performing very well, but that's a devastating thing to come back from. It was a nice combination by Frankie.
Mentally, you need to weather an early storm or two and realize that you're back durable and go to battle. Brazilian colors on the trunks of Jose Aldo. The design of the UFC Fight Kit shorts maintains the original silhouette while driving a connection between the athletes and fans through a celebration of national pride. This monumental UFC 200.
A lot of movement by Frankie, a lot of feinting, just really not allowing Jose to set up on him, particularly with that right leg kick, which was a devastating weapon in their first fight. Aldo hasn't thrown hardly any of them, if any, so far in this round. And look at this nice takedown attempt. Beautiful defense by Aldo. And it's been Frankie who's been throwing a lot of kicks, inside and outside, on that left leg of Jose Aldo.
It's been a while since Frankie, in fact, the last fight with Aldo, since Frankie fought for the title. But, Joe, he has been in 4 straight 5-round main events. Aldo, of course, has been in 5-round fights throughout his UFC career.
That was a good combination there by Frankie. He's catching Aldo's chin up. And Aldo's got to be careful of that as he pulls away from those exchanges, because Frankie's not stopping with 1 or 2. He's continuing with these combinations and catching them on the end. A lot of movement.
Yep.
Just Frankie never allows him to set. And Aldo's, he's got to establish that right kick. They both went for a kick at the same time there.
Both.
Oh, right hand by Aldo. Good right hand, clean.
Both, Joe, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belts. Frankie with a wrestling pedigree. Total strikes. Edgar at about 50%. Final 30 seconds of the round.
Oh, nice knee to the body by Aldo. It was a hard knee.
Yes, it was. And it was a knee that finished Chad Mendez.
And he timed that.
Oh, and again he goes to it. Frankie avoids the big shot.
Good kick to the body by Aldo.
Great finish to round 1. Corner Cam brought to you by Hudson Shipping, transporting innovation.
Perfeito round,
perfect round. Perfect round.
Bota agora a mão com costa, essa costa.
Spit it out.
Perfeito.
Perfect.
Perfeito.
It was perfect.
Respirou agora.
Breathe right
Tá
now.
perfeito.
It was perfect.
Vai começar esse joelho todo a entrar.
The knees are going to start to go in. He's going to try to go to your legs. Your crosses are landing. That's what everyone said. Your crosses are landing. I just need you when he steps back.
And here we see Aldo catching Frankie running in.
Edgar, the lightweight champion from 2010 to 2012, 3 title defense, 7 UFC title defense at featherweight for Jose Aldo. And the knees came late, and Edgar avoided.
I'm very curious to see what adjustments, if any, Frankie's going to make in the second round. If Aldo really started to find a home for both the right hand and that knee to the body. Aldo seemed to loosen up towards the end of that first round, Mike. Nice leg kick by Frankie.
Both men have highlight reel finishes inside the octagon. The moment when Aldo went into the stands in Brazil, just such a great moment for him and his country and the Noble Lundau team. I still remember when Frankie shocked the world, beating BJ Penn to win the belt.
Frankie's been having some good success with leg kicks, and it's kind of interesting because we really haven't seen any from Jose.
Nor has he attempted to check any of them.
Yeah, but that is his forte.
Yeah.
And when he opens up on them, they're devastating. I'm wondering if he went to a strategy of avoiding the kicks because Frankie's so good at takedowns, just doesn't want to give him that. There's that knee again. He caught him with it, shook him right off. Very nice. Very nicely done by Aldo.
Frankie keeps the pressure on, goes right up the middle.
He's got to be real careful with those knees, Mike. Those knees to the body have been devastating.
Those are fight-ending knees that Aldo throws. The Brazilian loosening up here in round 2. Some blood from Frankie Edgar's face. Aldo, nice head movement there. Good defense by the former featherweight champion.
Well, Aldo has been able to land some devastating shots, particularly in that first round. And I think he's got his rhythm and feels confident now. And Frankie, because of those hard shots, is a little more hesitant about closing the gap. He just got tagged there. He's a little more hesitant about paying the price. Oh, he tagged Aldo there with a right hand. That was an excellent right hand by Frankie.
Aldo, not even close to getting that takedown. Went back to his Muay Thai roots, as I mentioned before, brought in Emerson Falcon, Muay Thai kickboxing champion, and again, great takedown defense. But we've seen that for years from Jose Aldo, Joe.
Yeah, his takedown defense is outstanding, and his ability to recover if you do take him down. A little bit of a cut over the right eye of Frankie.
Ricardo Almeida, Mark Henry. Mark Henry, the striking coach, of course, UFC veteran, Ricardo Almeida.
Faster on the hand, Frankie. Faster on the hand. Quicker, hands out, hands at him, hands at him. Watch the spin, watch the spin. Yeah!
Frankie landed that jab. Oh, hard right hand by Aldo.
Good combination by Edgar. Aldo again with good defensive timing.
Another good right hand by by Aldo. Aldo countering very well here, Mike.
Yes. Constant motion like always from Edgar. Thought about the takedown, but not even close.
And he's sliding back nicely and landing that right hand.
A little slip and rip. Good switch kick. 30 seconds left on the clock here in round 2.
Good jabs by Aldo and a good kick by Frankie. There's a knee again.
Caught it.
Wow, look at the takedown defense by Aldo.
Yeah, and you know what? Jose Aldo's kind of throwing Frankie Edgar around, Joe.
Well, one of the things that we said when he came into the octagon tonight, physically he looks better than his last fight. He looks very strong. Obviously, he's been working on his strength and his conditioning at a very high level for this fight.
Corner Cam brought to you by Hudson Shipping, transporting innovation. There's Mark Henry.
Listen, you missed the shot, get up and hit it. He's stopping every time you miss the shot, and that's when he's hitting you after you miss the shot. You understand what I'm saying? Just keep going. No, in the last 30 seconds is the only time he's going. Start feeling hard the last 30 seconds. Don't flinch coming up. If you're going to shoot, shoot on his pivot, and don't shoot head inside. Shoot head on the outside.
Right hand by Frankie Edgar. And there's a nice jab and a right hand by Aldo. And a good counter right by Aldo as Edgar landed a shot.
The unauthorized reproduction or distribution of this copyrighted work is illegal and punishable under law. A monumental evening here in Las Vegas, sold out, 19,000 strong in the brand new T-Mobile Arena. This fight for the UFC Interim Featherweight Championship. The former featherweight title holder, Jose Aldo, the former lightweight champion, Frankie Edgar.
Frankie's landing these leg kicks. They don't seem to have a lot on them, and Aldo isn't respecting them. He's not checking them. He's just absorbing them, and they don't seem to be bothering him. There's a nice one. Aldo is just planting his feet and looking to throw bombs and catch Frankie as he's coming in. And again, right there, it's almost like he wants to do to Frankie what Conor did to him. There's takedown defense by Aldo, just spectacular. Looks so fast and explosive tonight.
Jose Aldo just looks so much more physically strong in this matchup than we've seen previously. Look at the distance traveled by these men. Constant motion, especially for Frankie Edgar. This is kind of the first time we've seen this, Joe.
Yeah, Edgar deciding to try to take a new approach here and maybe grind him out against the cage. Try to take some of the steam away from Aldo, a guy who, when he was physically larger, and this was one of the things that we speculated about Aldo being smaller for his last fight, when he was physically larger, like in some of the other fights like Ricardo Lamas, he's had a hard time in the 4th and 5th rounds maintaining that pace. He's a big featherweight.
11 of the last 12 fights for Edgar have been 5-round fights.
A lot of blood coming out of the nose of Frankie now, Mike.
3 minutes left here in the third. Every fight since June 2009 for Aldo has been a 5-round.
Excellent exchange there. Frankie landed. Aldo landed.
Frankie's going to stay in your face. There's no question about that. Aldo awarded the first featherweight championship belt back in November of 2010. Defended the WEC version 2 times before 145 came to the octagon.
Frankie's just having a real hard time reaching Aldo. Aldo's just anticipating the movement better, sliding out of the way better. and doing something in this movement that Frankie's most recent opponents have not been able to do, is outmove him.
And avoid.
Oh, big right hand by Aldo. And also the threat of Aldo's punches. And Frankie just caught Aldo.
Outmove him, Joe, and avoid what we've seen, the great combinations over the years by Edgar, trying once again to tie Aldo up.
That was another big knee to the body by Aldo, Mike. And Frank working really hard here for this takedown. But Aldo's wrestling and his takedown defense have been on point tonight.
Big break. 1 minute here in the third.
Well, so far, we're in the third. Nice right hand by Frankie. And Aldo's shown no signs of slowing down, no signs of fatigue. We'll see if that still holds true in the fourth and the fifth if we make it there.
He hasn't taken a lot of damage.
No, he certainly hasn't. I mean, the most effective shots that Frankie's been landing have been those leg kicks, and they don't seem to be bothering Aldo at all.
And we really haven't had any clinch game.
Very little. And Frankie's busted up. Yeah. You're looking at his face, you can see the effect of all those punches. Again, just popped him and then slid back and popped him again with a jab. Looking for that knee. Man, that timing on that knee is amazing.
Aldo just leans
there it
back,
is.
throws that heavy leg kick.
There's the first one, and man, what impact.
Andre Pederneiras, UFC veteran.
You're letting him get too close. Where's the bench? Sit down. You're letting it get too close. It's not a problem if you move around. You're hurting him more. But when there's a minute or two left, you have to go with all of you got. You got to go.
Listen, if you miss the shot, you're punching right away. You did it this round, and it paid dividends. So you miss the shot, you punch right away. Head outside on the shot. You know what I'm saying? Listen, if you miss the shot, you're punching right away. You did it this round, and it paid dividends. So you miss the shot, you punch right away. Head outside on the shot. You know what I'm saying?
There we see Edgar with a right hand over the top and a nice uppercut by Edgar. And boom, beautiful right hand by Aldo. The championship round.
Let's go. Once again for these two men. 11 of the last 12 fights, 5-rounders for Edgar. We mentioned how many 5-rounders in a row Jose Aldo has had. Aldo is 6-0 in 5-round fights that go the distance. His one loss inside the octagon was 13 seconds long. That said, Joe, Andre Pederneiras obviously wanted a little bit more certainty to the fact that Aldo is winning these rounds.
Yeah, I think he believes that Aldo's just faster, moves better, and it doesn't want Frankie getting that close. Frankie's been having a hard time landing anything substantial, Mike, and because of that, he hasn't really gotten Aldo's respect.
And Joe, I was going to ask you, is this starting to get frustrating for Frankie Edgar?
I mean, it must be, but Frankie's used to that. I mean, he's been in some wars.
Knows he's 1 or 2 great combinations away from a sudden momentum change. Just kind of fakes the shot, trying to get Aldo to open up. The blue coach is Frankie Edgar's corner.
He's pivoting on his son. Yeah. Toe. Sink, knee sink. Nice.
Matches levels. Sunset. Off the fence.
Mark Henry very vocal again. Striking coach for Frankie Edgar.
I don't know what he's yelling out, because they develop these names for things and codes for techniques, and he changes it all the time. It's one of the interesting things about Mark Henry's coaching. There's a nice left hook by Frankie.
Good pace throughout this entire matchup thus far.
Right hand by Aldo. And another. Good combination by Aldo. Aldo's putting some heat on these punches, Mike. Oh, both men exchange.
You see the damage on the face of Edgar. Aldo looks clean. Look at the numbers, head strikes. Aldo at about 50% efficient, and a lot of blood now coming from above the right eye of Frankie Edgar as he lands a right hand on Aldo's face.
And Aldo landed a right hand on him and then a left. Aldo's just looking to capitalize on the movement of Edgar and catch him coming in.
The most dominant champion at 145 in UFC history.
And this is as good as he's looked in a long time. He looks outstanding tonight.
Like you said, Joe, and he talked about it. When you have that invincibility go away and you got to go home and think about how do you rebuild, this might be the answer. Against the answer, Frankie Edgar.
Yeah, a loss like the Conor McGregor fight could have been the best thing for him. And you're looking at a really rejuvenated Jose Aldo here tonight. But for Frankie, he's still got some time. 20 left in this round and one more round to go. And he's got to make something dramatic happen. He got tagged there. He's running in, and Aldo's doing a great job of sliding back and catching him. Man, just barely missed with that knee.
I saw a quick facial expression of disappointment from Frankie Edgar when he couldn't land that last combination, Joe. Kind of what we were talking about. Extremely frustrating for the former lightweight champ.
Where's the bucket? Can I have the bucket? Vai lá, mestre.
Só dois. So let's take him out this round. You follow what I'm saying? 4 punches. I need the go goes against. You follow what I'm saying, kid? Go goes against. Finish off. He's going right down to the right hook to the body. Every time he keeps dipping to the 10, the right hook to the body. That's where he's going every time. Dipping right there. You follow what I'm saying? And he's just countering with the overhand at the end. I want you to go.
You gotta go. Any punch that you land, he's out of it. Get him. Take a punch, but get him. If he walks backwards, shoot his legs. Kick his legs. Kick his legs.
Man, look at the intensity from Andre Pederneiras. UFC fans, let your voice be heard. Tell us who you think is winning each fight by following @UFC on Twitter. All it takes is one click to vote on how you're scoring the fight. See all of the results live. Find out how your vote stacks up. 5th and final round.
There's that kick.
That was a highly emotional Andre Pederneiras.
It certainly was, and this is a fight that Aldo's winning. It just shows you how important this is to them.
Don't leave it in the judge's hands. And Frankie has had some fantastic fifth-round finishes.
But again, we should point to Aldo's conditioning. He looks great and relaxed here in his fifth round. Doesn't look like he's slowing down at all.
And as we talked about, Joe, it's been a style of fight that has impressed his cardio like it would be if they were clinching and wrestling and working on the ground.
Nasty left hand there by Aldo. Good kick by Frankie.
There will be a certain sense of urgency from Frankie Edgar here in the fifth.
Oh, high kick by Aldo. The power he possesses. Makes every exchange different. Very dangerous when you're in there with Aldo.
12th time Edgar, scheduled for 5. He's gone the distance 7 times.
Aldo caught him with the left hand there.
Frankie 7-3-1 in fights that go 25 minutes. Jose Aldo 6-0. Just over 3 on the clock.
Oh, good right hand by Aldo again. But he is planting and bombing on that shot.
Deep in this championship fight. And officially, Joe, now Frankie Edgar is the first fighter in UFC history to log 6 hours of octagon time.
And he is a bloody mess right now, Mike. A lot of blood coming out of that right eye and his nose. And Aldo connected again.
Any questions about the psyche and mental state of Jose Aldo answered quite brightly here in this 5-round fight.
Yeah, he might have taken a little while to get loose, but he has looked sensational in this fight. Very relaxed. And again, this is against a very, very dangerous and skillful challenge in Frankie Edgar.
A Frankie Edgar who's been on a roll. A Frankie Edgar who hasn't lost since they first fought back in 2013.
Not only is he not lost, he hasn't lost many rounds.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the worst performance of the last few years for Frankie. And I don't even think you should say it that way. I think you should say it's one of the best performances of Jose Aldo's recent career.
It's the first time in a long time we haven't seen the offensive strategy of Frankie Edgar work.
Well, Aldo just carries so much more consequence with his shots. When he's dropping them in on Frankie, they are hurting. And Frankie's punches and his kicks are sort of just kind of reaching Aldo and landing, but they don't seem to have the same kind of impact.
1 minute remains in this fight. The champion, Conor McGregor, in the first row, watching very closely. Sold out. 19,000 in attendance. UFC 200. Looking for that knee late.
Yeah, I mean, it's very dangerous for Frankie to move in on this guy. He's doing such a good job of countering, and he is looking for those bombs, that knee to the body and to the face, and that right hand as well.
Spin and a miss. Aldo's looking for the knee. 15. Championship fight. And they go the distance. Aldo and Edgar fight the full 25 minutes once again. Fight replay brought to you by Bud Light. Raise one to right now.
This is an early shot by Frankie Edgar. There's a right uppercut by Edgar. And there's a glancing 1-2. There's a nice left hook by Aldo. He landed that punch many times in this fight. There's a right hand by Aldo and slides away from the counters. Some devastating knees to the body as well in this fight. Just an excellent performance by Aldo.
Don't forget, fans, you can get involved. Follow us on Twitter, click, and we can see that the fan voting is pretty unanimous. 77% believe that Jose Aldo will bring a belt back to Brazil, the interim championship at 145. Follow us at UFC on Twitter.
Great fight, brother. Thank you, bro. Excellent. Great fight, guys. No problem, Frankie. No problem. This fight, tough guy, man. No problem. Thank you, Joey. Thank you. Relax. 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 Come on, come on. Relax.
Time for our official decision, brought to you by Metro PCS. For a piece of UFC 200 history, follow at Metro PCS and retweet to win authentic items straight from tonight's fights. Official rules at metropcs.com/UFC. Here's Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 5 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards for decision. The judges score the contest 49-46, 49-46, and 48-47 for the winner by unanimous decision. And now, the UFC interim featherweight champion of the world, Jose Aldo Jr.
We have ourselves a Brazilian champion again. And there's the notorious one.
I'm here with the winner, Jose Aldo. First of all, sir, congratulations on an excellent performance, one of your best in recent years. How do you feel about this fight, and how does it feel to once again have a UFC belt around your waist?
Thank you. I'm very happy, but no fight to me today. For you, my coach. I love you, the guys. I love you, my coach. It's not for me. It's for him. It's for him.
Andre Pedneris, one of the best coaches in the world who's led you through your career. This was an excellent performance tonight against a guy in Frankie Edgar that had been on a long winning streak and had looked fantastic. You shut down his offense tonight. Was there anything surprising about this fight?
Foi uma grande performance hoje contra o cara que estava uma grande sequência de vitórias. Como é que você desligou ele hoje à noite?
O Frank é um grande adversário, é um cara que movimenta bastante, tem um wrestling muito bom. Eu respeito ele, respeito todo mundo. Mas eu só tenho um objetivo, é ser campeão novamente. Vai vencer esse merda e pode ter certeza que a próxima vez que eu pegar ele aqui, ele vai ter a sorte que ele teve na última.
Frank's a great athlete, I respect everyone, but I have one goal, and it's to beat this guy. And you can bet the next time I come here, I will beat him.
Congratulations, sir, on an outstanding performance.
Brasil, galera, mais forte que o mundo, nunca desista dos seus sonhos, foi pra vocês. Muito obrigado, galera, valeu pela energia positiva a todo mundo. Eu lutei por ele, essa vitória é dele. Ele merece isso tudo, eu não fiz nada, ele fez tudo. Meu Dedé Peneira, esse aqui é meu pai. Perdi meu pai, mas ganhei um pai nessa vida agora. Tudo que eu faço agora é pra ele. Ele falou que ia se aposentar, não se aposentou, manteve aqui com a gente. Então, só tenho que agradecer a ele, essa vitória é pra ele. Tudo que é aqui que eu ganhei hoje, vai pra ele.